Hey guys. Okay, this is gonna have to be short, but there's so much I don't know if it's gonna be short or not. I just got done. I've been streaming for 9 hours. Okay. Um, but this is like it. This the case that we streamed today. Is a case that's already over, but this case actually took place while we were doing the Donna Adelson trial down in Florida, which was also a very important case. Um, this particular case, though, is a civil case, not a criminal case. But the chicanery that went on in that courtroom today, I would not be doing my job. Okay, because here's the whole thing. Okay, when I cover a case on here, it's because something was flawed. Okay, um, whether it was an attorney not acting right, a defendant, a judge, a juror, whatever, witnesses lying. When I cover cases, it's because, you know, there's something funky with them. I really didn't expect this particular case to be that way, but we wanted to cover it because we just really wanted to. Um, it's an entertainment case, but we just, it's just like, oh, we have time today. Let's stream this. And so for 9 hours, we did because it was that bad. This is a case that should have never made it to trial. Um, this case, the amount of misconduct that was shown in this case was so egregious that I'm not the only one who thinks so. As a matter of fact, one of the attorneys is going to get sanctions. And he's going to get sanctions because this person. Okay, this is the main reason. There's a reason why people don't like attorneys. This guy is is why. Okay. This case is the Cardi B civil case. Now, this case actually went down in 2018. Um, Cardi B had just released her first album, I believe, and it had just gone platinum. And she had gone out to LA. That's when she was still doing Love and Hip Hop in Atlanta. And she went out to LA for the NBA All Star Week. And unbeknownst to everybody at the time, she was pregnant. She hadn't told anybody yet. And she wasn't feeling well. And she was worried about her pregnancy. And she, told somebody to find her a good, doctor, an OB. And out there in LA, yes, um, doctors will most definitely be open on Saturdays because people work a lot out there. Um, Not only that, but celebrities that might not necessarily be able to come down into the thick of LA with everybody riding around to go to doctor's appointments. They will come on the weekends, things like that. And that's what they had done. They were normally open on Saturday, but they had actually closed the office. They had gotten their last patient out and they had closed the office so Cardi B could come in without being hassled. This was a big building on Wilshire Boulevard in Beverly Hills. Okay. And this particular doctor has seen celebrities regularly. And so Cardi B gets there and she This is now, understand, she's never been to this doctor. This is the first time she's ever even been to this building. Okay. And she goes up to the floor, which is fourth floor, where the doctor's offices are. She comes out of the elevator, and there is a female security guard standing there with her phone out, just like this, videoing her. And at this point in time, Cardi B is, no one knows that she is pregnant at this point, not even her parents. Okay, so and on top of that, this is a doctor's office. Okay, regardless of whether this patient is a celebrity or just a regular person, what this person did was absolutely, it was HIPAA. There is such thing as HIPAA. And basically, Cardi told her, that she needed to stop filming her. The woman refused and backed Cardi B up into a corner. And this was a large woman. Cardi B, as Cardi B called her, she was security big. And she was. She's like twice the size of Cardi B. Okay. And they start yelling at each other, cussing. Well, the receptionist comes out of the doctor's office. She gets in between them. The receptionist gets hit in the face by the security guard. The doctor comes out there. The receptionist takes Cardi B into the doctor's office, and the doctor, gets in the face of the security guard, telling her to get into the elevator. You're not even supposed to be up here. Why are you up here? Your job's down there. Basically, she knew that Cardi was coming because they tell them, we have Cardi B is coming in for an appointment. She'll be coming in. Be looking for her. Well, yeah, she looked for her all right. She went up there and waited for her to come up. She left her post down there in the lobby and went up there and waited on Cardi B to get there. Now, that happened. Cardi B she literally handled it like a champ. The doctor said that she wasn't upset about it. She was, the doctor, after Cardi B left, actually called his office manager and told her that on Monday that she needed to call the building manager because he wanted that security guard gone because that's not cool. Well, the security guard sues Cardi B for $24 million because she says that Cardi B hit her, Cardi B spit at her, blah, 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 blah. I just can't even go into all the mess. Basically, just to kind of go down, just a real streamline of this. Her attorney, we immediately, this is a bunch of law people, okay? We're watching this dude from the jump. We're clocking in, boom, objection, 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 objection. And thankfully, her attorneys were like, objection, objection, objection. We're on it. We are clocking him. And finally, EDB says, wait, hold up. I got to find out who this guy is because we couldn't see him. Where the camera was, where he was standing, at that point in time, we couldn't see him at all. So we were literally thinking this guy has got to be like a second year attorney or something, a green attorney, because this guy is he's asking questions that he knows he can't answer, that he can't ask. He is just he's saying things that he knows he can't say. Her attorneys are steadily objecting. The judge is steadily, sustained. We look this dude up. And we find out this dude passed the bar exam in 2004. This is not a green attorney. This is a man. Like an older, And we're like, what the hell is he doing? Okay. That wasn't it, though. Then we keep looking, okay. We looked up his address because he, for some reason, apparently his office is across the street from the building that the doctor's office was in. And he kept giving his address out in court for some reason. Well, that was good for us because we looked up his address. We found out who he was. Um, we looked him up. Oh my gosh, guess what? 2 years ago, oh boy caused a mistrial in a malpractice suit. Why, you ask? Because he assaulted the counsel of the other person. Okay, I don't know if he was the plaintiff. I don't know if he was representing the plaintiff or the defendant, but the counsel for the other team, he literally assaulted them in the courtroom, in front of the jury, in front of the judge. The judge then, has to recuse himself from the case, has to call a mistrial. Then this dude goes in there before the judge and is begging the judge, please don't report me to the bar. Please, you don't have to. It's not a reportable offense. And the judge is like, no, it's my ethical duty to absolutely report what you did to the bar. So this dude has already been, like, within the last 2 years, this has happened. Okay. This guy is nuts. He's not even, to be honest with you, I don't think he got scarred down. I really don't. Because number one, this case was lies from the jump. Okay. They had zero evidence. And when I say zero, I mean exactly that. No phone bill that supported anything. No pictures that supported, because she said that Cardi B, okay, here's the deal. She said that Cardi B, with her 3-inch long fingernails, which weren't 3 inches long, but she said that Cardi B took her 3-inch long fingernail and stuck it in her cheek and caused a scratch that caused a scar that literally sent her into mental illness wonderland with depression, anxiety, PTSD, blah, 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 blah. And this decides to sue Cardi B for $24 million because, she had to have plastic surgery to have that scar fixed. Problem was, there was, like I said, it was all lies. She actually did have plastic surgery, but it was 4 years after this incident. This suit was not filed until 2020. This happened in 2018. Okay? She did not have plastic surgery until 2022. In 2021, however, she was in a car wreck. And you know what she did after that car wreck? Well, you know what happened during the car wreck? She smacked her face. Her face got smacked. Okay, well, that was her first lawsuit. Well, actually, this was the first lawsuit, but she sued them too. However, as I said, there was no evidence. Even plastic surgery that was done on her face, there was a picture. There was nothing there. Come to find out, her plastic surgeon did her plastic surgery for her on a lien against her lawsuit against Cardi B, and added 20% because in the event that she didn't win, he wanted to be sure that he got enough money to cover his losses. Okay, so anyhow, and the doctor owned the building that it was called a medical center. The doctor owned the entire building. He was the only one there profiting from anything, which we see this fairly frequently with people with plastic surgery. Because these people will tell you, oh, you need plastic surgery. Oh, you get that fixed. He microneedled her. That was what he called plastic surgery, and then charged $17,000 for it. But microneedling, I was like, no, that's not plastic surgery. No, that's not plastic surgery. Anyhow, though, Um, no evidence, no witnesses. He even tried to pull some bullcrap with witnesses. There were 3 witnesses that had been on their list that he claimed were on the same floor that saw all this happen. Um, they weren't there yesterday. Keep in mind, this suit was filed in 2020. It's 2025. He's had 5 years to prepare his case and to get his damn witnesses to the courthouse on time. Nope, not there. Judge says, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to call some witnesses out of order just so that we can get some kind of damn testimony in this morning, and then we'll go to lunch. And I suggest that you have your witnesses here this afternoon. Okay. Well, he comes back and says, well, Judge, I talked to my witnesses and there's just no way they can be here today. And the judge looked at him and said, okay, well, this is happening over Labor Day weekend. So Monday is a holiday. This is on Friday. Monday's a holiday. He says, okay, they better be here Tuesday morning or you're not calling them. Okay. Takes another break. All right. So we finally get going for the afternoon session after all this rigmarole shit. It's unreal. And yeah, he walks in again and says, yeah, Judge, yeah, I called my witnesses and there's just no way that they can be here Tuesday. And the judge said, well, okay, well, you're not calling them then. You're just not gonna have any witnesses. I mean, the judge was like, dude, you filed this suit in 2020. It's 2025. You've had all that time to get your witnesses and get them to the damn courthouse. If you needed to subpoena them, you could subpoena them, whatever you needed to do to get them here. You had ample time. You had 5 years. Okay. We are going insane with this. This man, like I said, I totally believe that somebody else took his bar exam for him because there's absolutely no way that he passed it. Um, he's not, I mean, it's like I said, it's people like him that cause people to not trust attorneys because this case was never winnable. Whether it was him that had the case or that's why, and we also found out that another attorney had the case. He took it over from another attorney. More than likely because that attorney said, lady, you ain't got a snowball's chance in hell of winning this lawsuit. He didn't. But this jerk off sees $24 million and I get 10% of that. Yeah. And it's Cardi B. She'll settle. We'll get at least 10 million, right? But yeah, Cardi B doesn't settle her lawsuits. And we know that because we've already watched 2 of them. And she won both of those too. So anyhow, this goes on. This was a 4-day trial. We streamed it in 9 hours. Okay. Cardi B was awesome. Cardi B's attorneys were awesome. Now, let me tell you what they had though. They had evidence. Yep. They had witnesses, and they even had her attorney. All right, she's the plaintiff. Cardi B's the defendant. Cardi B's attorneys, okay, this person over here, the plaintiff, she is claiming that due to the scratch, which never happened, by the way, it was proven it never happened, that Cardi B left on her cheek. It caused her mental anguish, all this, PTSD. She was, okay. She's the one claiming the, that she deserves to be paid because of pain and suffering from a 2 women yelling fight. Okay, that's all it was. So Cardi B's attorneys do what good attorneys do and say, okay, well, she's claiming that she deserves all this money because she's now developed, because of what happened that day at the doctor's office. That was her fault, by the way. Um, she's claiming that, got depression, got anxiety, got PTSD. I lost my job as a security person, all this complete BS. Okay. Um, so Cardi B's attorneys do what good attorneys do. And they say, okay, well, we need to get us a good, psychologist to do a evaluation on her because, she's claiming that she has all these issues. So we need a good psychologist. Oh, they found one. And his name was Dr. Rosenberg, and Dr. Rosenberg did not play. Dr. Rosenberg, 100%, no doubt, was smarter than everybody in that room, in that courtroom, put together. This man, not only did he have, he had, oh my gosh, he was an MD, a surgeon specializing in cardiothoracic, cancer surgeries. Then he got a psychiatry degree, then did all these fellowships, went back, got his forensic psychology degree. It was nuts. Like, this man's CV was off the chain. And, well, you know, they ain't got no witnesses to call because, they ain't got no witnesses other than her mama and her grandma. And here's the thing about that. Your mom and your grandma's always going to have your back. Because if you went home and you said, oh, mama, mama and my mama, that mean girl, Cardi B, she scratched me in my face, your mama and your mama are going to believe you. And basically, that's all that they knew. She knew what that girl told them, which wasn't the truth. So, anyhow, um, so yeah, Dr. Rosenberg gets up there, and this one, excuse me, my dog just ran his butt into my stop. Okay, so yeah, this he runs a full psychological evaluation on her, like 3 different tests, in addition to the 6-hour just evaluation, talking that's recorded. She's telling him things. He's asking her questions. She's answering them. Number one, like, and he also, which I don't guess she knew this, but, a psychologist, they're going to also have the psychologist to make a good evaluation. Not only has to do the head junk, they also take into consideration your medical records. They take into consideration, that's part of what, like, the um, 6-hour interview thing is. They ask you questions about your childhood and, did your mama hug you enough, and, were you bullied in school, and, stuff like that. And this girl is saying, no, nothing ever happened to me. Literally, like, she told, no, I had a fine life. Well, then he lets her take the test and everything, and then he has to take those. He has to put those answers into computer software, and you put them in one time, and then you have to go back and you have to check them a second time to be sure that all the answers are in properly. And then you run the software, and that software, by the answers that you put in for whatever test you're doing, they have like a little code number, and the software basically tallies it up and flips it around and runs it this way and that way. And anyway, you come out with numbers, and using those numbers, that's how you kind of figure out what the hell's going on with somebody. And I almost died. Okay. I'm not thinking that it is going to be this dramatic. And it was so dramatic. He's up there, and the only thing that came up on her crap was malingering. Okay, do we all know what malingering means? Malingering means that you are making symptoms of whatever, you are making them appear worse than they are for some type of gain, like what she was doing. She was saying that she had depression. She was saying that she had anxiety and PTSD and all this stuff. Okay. Yeah, like none of her stuff came up for any kind of emotional issues. Then, yeah, the only thing that came up was malingering. And he basically, he said, yeah, he's like, judging by everything, that all of her answers to the questions that, she put on there, and software did this and did that, and using these factors and this factor and this, the only thing that came up is malingering. Then there was a second test that he ran like the same answers through. This girl, he said, as a matter of fact, when I ran her numbers through the second test, her symptoms, she had exaggerated her symptoms so much that when the second test came back, it said that she was schizophrenic, like to the nth degree, to the point that she would need to be hospitalized. Okay, now was not schizophrenic at all, but when you're amping up stuff, when you're answering questions, you're not answering them correctly for a psychological evaluation. And they put those numbers into their software and they run their software and it goes through, like this standard and that standard and these factors are put in and those factors are put in. Literally, like she was flying too close to the sun. Okay. Like he was like, if he said, in reality, he said, there's no way that these things are wrong with her because she has a full-time job. She has a family. She is social. She has a social life. She has a boyfriend. She has all these things. If this was true, she wouldn't be able to function at all. She wouldn't be able to leave her house. She would be, he said it, he said she would be in a hospital because she would not be able to function outside of a hospital. And so with that, yep, we found out that, girl had completely lied. Then Dr. Rosenberg throws another log on the fire with, in addition, he pulled this just like out of the bottom. It was so good. He said, well, in addition to that, there are a lot of inconsistencies with things that she told me and between her deposition and her testimony and her medical records. He said, she never told me about any trauma. He said, all of these things that she complains of, that she says she has, she's never been diagnosed by anyone with. He said, as a matter of fact, what happened between her and Cardi B, and that's what they called Cardi B in court, was Cardi B. They asked her, what do you want us to call you? And she said, Cardi B. So they called her Cardi B. And he said, what happened between her and Cardi B is not trauma. He said, they didn't touch each other. She wasn't wounded. That was not trauma. That was, she got into an argument or something. She got into an argument with someone because someone was telling her to stop doing what she was doing, and she didn't want to, and she didn't get her way, and so she pitched fit, and then she got thrown out of the building, and then she got fired. So that's not trauma. That's, you got what you damn deserved. Okay. So anyhow, but her attorney, oh no, he was lying. I'm talking about outright lying. Like a witness got off the stand 15 minutes ago, and another witness is up there, and he's cross-examining them because he didn't have any witnesses, so it was all her witnesses, right? And he literally, she just testified to XYZ, and we're all like, that is bullcrap. I mean, he was, lying. Not one, and I'm being honest about this, like, not one thing that came out of that man's mouth was credible. he would say when they were, oh my gosh, it was just horrible. It really was. Cardi B was champ though. When she got up in that stand, she did great with her testimony. I mean, she told the truth. I mean, she and you can see that. When you're not lying, when you're not having to lie, when you don't have the stress of having to think on the fly about what you're fixing to say, you can see it on the stand. I mean, they don't. When somebody's telling the truth, you don't have a lot of uhs and ums and looking down and looking over here and looking over here and what'd you say? And I don't remember. And there wasn't none of that with Cardi B's testimony. I mean, she got up there and she told that story. What happened here? This happened here, and then we went up here, and then she did this and she did that. And yes, I was mad. Yes, I was mad, and yes, I was cussing her too. Yes, she was she cussing at me. Yep, I was cussing at her too. But I did not touch her. I didn't touch her. I didn't touch that girl. And there were some other things that she said Cardi B did that were just, just they weren't true either. And thankfully, I mean, like I said, Cardi B had witnesses that actually came out and saw all this going on. The doctor, receptionist and doctor. So, but yeah, we streamed that whole trial in 9 hours. And then her attorney, he gets up there for even closing arguments. Oh, number one. Yeah, okay. Like I said, we're clocking just objection, objection. My brain got to work out today, okay, because it's been a while since I watched a trial that I could that had that much of me just like, oh my god, what is this? Who is this dude? This dude is a joke. He's not an attorney. I don't even think I really don't. I don't think he got as far as them. I don't think he got as far as them. I'm gonna say that. But there's just no way, okay, because you just don't you don't go in a courtroom and disrespect the court the way that he did. And that's what he did. I mean, it is blatant disrespect for our judicial system, for the judge, for the jurors that had been called for jury duty that day, for anybody else that had to be up there for that attorney. And in addition to the fact that Cardi B had to pay for her attorneys, this numbskull didn't get paid unless his clients got paid. $24 million. She wanted $24 million. No. Anywho, he's getting okay. Let me slow down. He starts. So we get to the point in the trial where it's about time for closing arguments. Okay, and they've been having problems through this whole trial. I mean, and when I say that, like not Cardi B's attorney, him. And when I say like being disrespectful to the court, lying. I mean, this man was lying. I mean, and he is an attorney. I mean, I don't know why I thought that he would be any better than that, being that he literally disrespected the court 2 years ago by physically assaulting the counsel for the other party in the courtroom in front of the jury and the judge. And yeah, he got sanctioned for that. Begged the judge not to turn him in, and begged the judge not to report it. The judge did what he should have, and he did. And the judge also recused himself from the case. So, and he was begging him to stay on the case too. He was like, "You're my favorite judge. Stay on the case." So, oh my gosh. And so, anyway, we're watching this thing, and we're like, this number one, this judge had the patience. He had patience. Okay, now he was funny too. He was a little on the fickle side about time. Like when he was ready to go eat, he was going to ask you, okay, Mr. So and so, about how much longer do you think you're going to be with this witness? About 15 minutes, Your Honor. Well, if you go over about 15 minutes, he maybe give you 2 or 3 extra, and then he was like, excuse me, we need to wrap this up. We need to wrap this up. We need to wrap this up. We need to wrap it up. He was going to wrap it up because the judge knew. The judge knew just as well as we did that this case was never going to be won by that girl. Everybody knew that there's no case here. You have no case. You have lies. You have lies that her attorney, who does have evidence and does have witnesses, has proven are lies. And you have those 9 people sitting in that jury box that you are literally trying, you literally think that they're so stupid that you can fool them. And see, that's disrespect to the jury. You know, oh man. And the judge before closing arguments, there were some issues that they, went up there and kind of, hashed out through. Because, like I said, I mean, he would throw stuff in that hadn't even been testified to and wasn't in evidence in closing arguments. His closing arguments lasted for over an hour. Now, in her, counsel, Cardi B's counsel said nothing. They let him just talk and talk. I mean, in that he went, number one, like I said, lies, 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 lies. There was so much stuff that spat out of his mouth that was lies. Okay, this person testified to this. Nope, that didn't happen. Objection. This person testified to that. Nope, that didn't happen. Oh, this is in evidence. Nope, no, it's not. It was nothing that came out of his mouth was true. If he was talking about a piece of evidence, it wasn't true. If he was saying something about something that someone testified to, it was not true. And then he stood there and he went over all the jury instructions. All the jury instructions. To the point that he was showing the jurors, okay, you have this right here. And the judge wanted to truncate the jury questions because, you have all of the what all has to be proven for this to be a yes or a no. And then this is a civil case, so it does not have to be unanimous. Like, and that can go from question to question. Like on question 1, did you find that Cardi B did indeed, assault, she did, this attorney, the plaintiff's attorney, prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Cardi B did indeed hit this person, assault and battery. Okay. But it's they have to list out all the things that have to be true for that to be a yes. Okay. Now, when you truncate those, basically that's just you're reading, did you find Cardi B guilty of assault and battery? Yes or no? We're not going to read the whole paragraph of everything that has to be true for a yes to be there. Okay. And then, you had the, the libel, the, was she being negligent? I mean, there was like 5, but he went through every single one of them and was telling the jury, check yes here, check yes here. Now you're going to come over here and you're going to check yes right here. And then you're going to check yes right here. Now here, this is where we're going to put this amount. Now, if, she needs to be compensated for all her pain and suffering, all this pain and suffering that Cardi caused her. And, if you want to put $250,000 right there, well, you put it right there. And then, she's got these, she's got to have that reconstructive surgery done again, remember, because the plastic surgeon said that the first reconstructive surgery that he did on her face, it needed fixing a little bit. And it was going to cost another $17,000. So she needs to get that compensated. And, what about, pain and suffering. And the only thing that she wasn't asking for was lost wages. And that was because the job that she got after she got fired from being the security guard at the doctor's office paid more than that job did. So she couldn't ask for lost wages because she was actually at the job that she was better off being at because she was making more money. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. But yes, it was awesome. Okay. It was. It just really was. I was not expecting it to be like this, but it was. But anyway, The judge, though, had already told him about several items that he kept bringing up during court that were lies. Okay, they were just lies. Like, you're lying. And the judge knows it. And basically, there was one part where they produced a picture of Cardi B at the NBA game, and you could see her fingernails. And no, her fingernails were not 3 inches long. And her doctor remembered looking at her fingernails when she was there that day. And he could look at the picture, and he said, her nails in the picture, did they look like that when she came to her doctor's appointment? He said, yeah, that's exactly what they look like. He said, actually, he said, I'm an obstetrician and a gynecologist. Okay. He said, to break the ice with women when they come in, they're nervous for their appointments. I always look at their fingernails and I compliment them on their fingernails. He said, or if they're painted a funky color, I'll ask them, oh, that's a cool color. Where'd you get it? Where'd you get those done at? If they've got, rhinestones or, whatever. But yeah, he was Dr. What was it? Finky? We started calling him Dr. Fingy because he was a fingernail man. It's so funny. Oh gosh, it was so funny. He was so good though as a witness. He was great because he was not having none of that security guard shit. Excuse my language. I forgot about that. Yeah, this is not a video that you want to, probably want to have little kids around because, I mean, I've held in a lot of it because a lot of the testimony was cuss words. Oh yeah. And then he also, Cardi B's up there testifying, right? And he's asked her, he says, part of her testimony is, what did you say? What did she say? And it was a lot of cuss words, a lot of F words and B words, and there was a threat. The damn security guard told her, I will fuck your shit up. And all I thought about, those of you who know who I'm talking about, Alan Jackson. I was like, oh, I was like, that security guard literally said that as they were taking Cardi B into the doctor's office. The doctor's trying to push the security guard out into the elevator so she will leave because she's not leaving. And she hollers at Cardi B, I will fuck your shit up. And we all go to Alan Jackson. And we were like, how cool would it be if when we go to closing arguments, her attorney comes out and says, and just stands there and does a total Alan Jackson and says, I will fuck your shit up. That is what that woman right there said to Cardi B, a pregnant woman coming into the doctor's office on a Saturday because she's worried about her unborn child. We all clocked it. We were like, Alan Jackson, he's got to do it. But he did, her attorneys were much milder than, any of us by far. And they actually were attorneys. Whereas plaintiff woman's, like I said, this man was not an attorney. I totally believe with 100% certainty that somebody else took his exam for him and that it was a shit show. There's no way. I mean, there's no way. Like, I don't. Okay. Still got to get back to this. Hold on. So, anyway, like I said, he's lying. He's saying things that are not in evidence. And part of that was the picture. Okay. That picture that the doctor used to identify Cardi B's fingernails. Okay. When she was on the stand, the picture was presented to her. It was marked into evidence and presented to her. And she was asked the question, when was that picture taken? And Cardi B was like, this was 7.5 years ago. Literally, this happened. That's how long it's taken this case to go to trial. And she said that. She said, this was 7.5 years ago. She said, I know that it was taken during that week that I was there. She said, but I don't know exactly which day. She said it could have been the day that I went in for the doctor's appointment. She said, but I really don't know. She said, but yes, that's me. I'm at the NBA game. Those are the nails that I had. Remember, they had asked her, what color her fingernail polish was. This was before the picture came out, and she said they were like it was an orangey color. Yeah, that's exactly what color they were. Um, I mean, she did a good job. She really did. And she kept her cool and everything. And, it was great. So the plaintiff's attorney, though, ends up he keeps getting admonished in court. He keeps getting admonished over and over and over again. And at one point, regarding that picture, he said, the judge told him, he said, if you, during your closing arguments, try to argue to the jury that picture, he wanted to say it, he kept wanting to say that Cardi B testified that picture was taken on something, whatever it was, the date, they had the date that, which also happened to be the date that she went to the doctor's appointment, which that's not what Cardi B testified to at all. I just told you what she testified to. And she said that it was taken during that week, but she didn't know which day. That's what he heard. Okay. That is what everybody heard. And he literally turned around in 15 minutes and went over to that jury and started his closing arguments. And it only took about 35, maybe 45 seconds before objection, sustained, objection, sustained, objection, sustained. Then he pulled that picture out and he took it over to the jury and he argued to the jury that picture, that Cardi B testified that picture was taken on it was the 24th of whatever month that was. The judge had literally just told him, if you do that, that's misconduct. Okay. Well, yeah. So during his whole closing argument, her attorneys are sitting there just over, objection, sustained, objection, sustained. We're out here. Objection. Oh my God. That is speculation. What? Relevance. Where's that? Who cares? Well, we are going nuts. Like, my brain worked out really good. But when he got done, the judge was like, okay, well, it's been over an hour now, because you took over an hour to do your closing, right? They were supposed to only take an hour apiece. He went well over an hour. Basically, the judge allowed the jurors to go take a break or whatever. Well, not really take a break. It was like maybe 5 minute, 10-minute break, whatever. And the jurors left the room. Well, here comes Cardi B's attorney, and he was like, Judge, we have some issues that I need you to rule on. And her attorney started popping him. So guess what? Oh boy, finna get sanctioned again because that judge has ordered the the order to show cause hearing, which will be at the end. Well, there's one in the end of this month, and so yeah, what that means, that's sanctions. That means sanctions. That means that yes, that judge agrees that, and he knew it. I mean, that judge totally agrees that your behavior, sir, in this courtroom today has absolutely been nothing but fuckery. Okay. That's what it was. Lying. Just oh my God. Like I said, I can't even, it's just beyond me. But in the end though, we got that. So basically, We're going to go over that next week. We're actually going to pull the case that he got. We're going to pull the case that he assaulted the co-counsel on, okay, and caused a mistrial, and the judge to recuse and all that. We're going to pull that case so that we can go through it and see exactly what happened. And we're going to see, there's already the papers for his the orders to show cause, and we're going to see what's on there, because I guarantee you there's page full, because this person has absolutely just, he screwed the pooch. He screwed the pooch. So now, time for Cardi B's attorney. He gets up there, and this man. Oh, okay. Let me kind of flip back to him. Oh, the crazy dude for a second. When he's doing his closing, arguments, he has a handful of loose papers, and like I said, over an hour to do his closing. This is on a case that he presented no evidence and no witnesses for. And every time he went to say something, he's flipping through his dang papers. And I'm like, dude, I mean, everything that he said was so disjointed and confusing anyway. He literally had like written, it was the most messy thing I've ever seen in my life. Well, Cardi B's attorney gets up there to do his closing, and dude's got notebook bullet points, and he's hitting on pow, pow, pow. We've got, exhibits and all that too. I mean, we had exhibits up here. It was great. They're making timelines over here and graphs. It was great. Okay, closing was awesome. And then listen to this. He gets to an hour, where Cardi B's attorney said nothing when that one went over an hour. Well, Cardi B's attorney, when he got to an hour, the plaintiff, he's not an attorney. I can't make myself call him an attorney. He's just a person, because there's just no way that he passed the bar exam. That man said objection, and the judge says grounds. He was like, he's gone over the time limit. We agreed on an hour, and the judge was like, and he's like, so did you, but you know. But anyway, so her attorney's like, it's okay, Judge. No, I can wrap this up right now. And he did. He wrapped it up. Wrapped it up, flipped it, rolled it around, tied it up, and everybody. The juror, and then of course, stupid man gets to rebut, and nothing that came out of his mouth when he rebutted made a dang bit of sense. I mean, if you were sitting there, we were all going, what? What did he just say? What was that? Really? Even throwed out. The man, he was sick in the head. He was just sick in the head. I'm not going to say what I was going to say, because it's just gross. It was unnecessary, even to his own client. He was disrespectful to his own client, talking about her medical issues that had nothing to do with this court case. Okay? Because it was something that he had seen in her medical records, which he was also lying. He was lying. I mean, in the process of telling a lie about her medical records, he's telling her business, her personal business regarding what she went to the doctor for. The female doctor. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He literally did that to her. I felt bad for her then. I was like, and he didn't say it. I mean, I'm not, like I said, it was a female doctor appointment. That's all I'm gonna say. And she had a problem. Okay. And he not only said it once or twice, he throwed it out there for everybody in the courtroom and to hear 3 times. And we were sitting here going, holy shit, I cannot believe he just did that. That's his own client. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with him? He needs, it was terrible, you know. And I felt bad for her again, but I didn't afterwards. Um, so anyway, jury gets the case. They are back within an hour. Of course, the judge gets the verdict. The judge wants to truncate the charges. In other words, you're just going to be asking, did you find that everything was proven that needed to be proven for Cardi B to be guilty of assault and battery? Yes or no? Yeah, that's what you're going to ask. Instead, though, if you don't truncate them, you're literally having to read out every issue that has to happen. Yep, that happened, and yep, that happened, and yep, that happened, and yep. Okay, so we can say yes. And so it's okay. And the judge is like, is it okay if I truncate these, please? Because we're getting close in the courtroom. It was, they have a hard stop at 4:30 in LA. In LA court, hard stop at 4:30. So it's getting, on down there. And the judge was like, is it okay with y'all if I just truncate these? And of course, Cardi B's attorneys are like, oh yeah, sure, Judge, that's fine. Oh, crazy man over there. I'd like to hear the entire charges, please. The judge was like, really? So, but it was fine. Unanimous verdict. Not guilty for Cardi B. Um, she did wonderful testifying. She was wonderful in court. She was great. I mean, she was absolutely great. This was a case, though. It was very important, though. It was one of the most important cases that I really wanted to put on here because, you know, it's what's wrong with, our legal system sometimes. That man is the reason why a lot of people don't trust attorneys. He's a bottom feeder. That's what he is. That case was never winnable. It should have never been brought to court. And he did it anyway. And then when he did it, he didn't even bother to prepare. He didn't even bother to prepare at all for the case, And like I said, you're in court, and you have a box full of jurors, and you have witnesses, and you have the public, you have whoever might be sitting there as support for family or whatever, and you have the judge, and you have attorneys, and you have these people, and you have Cardi B, who, whereas this girl over here, that man said, oh, it's okay. When we win this $24 million from Cardi B, I'll take my money out of that. Don't worry about it. You don't have to pay me. You don't have to pay me now. Cardi B, however, she has to pay for her attorneys. It's not fair. It's not right. It's complete misconduct. Everything he did in that courtroom was terrible. And I just, but like I said, unanimous, not guilty on Cardi B. And of course, he wanted to poll the jury. Why would we think he didn't want to poll the jury? I mean, he literally argued about everything. If you said it was red, he was saying it was blue. Even if somebody just testified that it's red, he awful, just terrible, And then when we found out, I mean, this man was so bad. Within the first 30 minutes of court, we are stopping. We have full stopped the trial, and we are looking for this man, seeing what we can, because there's got to be something on him, Like I said, we are thinking, because we can't see him right then at that point. He hadn't come out from like the side where we could see him. We are thinking that this is a young attorney because we were like, he doesn't know what he's doing. Oh my gosh, this kid doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't. He has no clue what he's doing. And then look him up and pass the bar in 2004. Are you kidding me? There's no way. I'm telling you, somebody took the test for him. And then, on top of that, find out that just 2 years ago was the whole sanctions with the other case. And now we've got the, order to show cause hearing at the end of this month for this case, because his, misconduct. It was egregious misconduct. It was horrible. He wasted the judge's time. He wasted the jury's time. He wasted the taxpayers' money. He wasted Cardi B's money. He wasted anything else. Anybody that was there, the witnesses that came, like the doctor, the gynecologist, just to come testify for this case, he had to cancel a whole afternoon of patients, which means those patients then had to be moved to another day. That shouldn't have happened. And that doctor testified with no compensation. The doctor that she went to that day that saw all of this happen and knew that what that security guard was saying with 100% certainty did not happen the way she said it did, testified for no compensation. Now, Dr. Rosenberg, with his, I don't know how many, there were so many degrees, so many. Like I said, I'm positive that he had more, he was smarter than everybody in that room put together. It was crazy, and he was a good witness too. He did excellent on the stand. He got $40,000. Well, who do you think had to pay that? Cardi B had to pay that. Cardi B had to pay her attorneys as well. And then after court, we did watch. They had, of course, the media is out there. They want to talk to him. And I'm very proud of Cardi B because she stood up for herself out there. And she told them, she said, y'all have got to stop thinking that celebrities, that you can sue a celebrity for, just make up something and sue, and that will, just to make you go away, will settle with you. And she said, as a matter of fact, she said, this case right here, I don't want none of my fans to go look this woman up. I don't want none of y'all to go to her social media. I want you to leave her alone. And I'm walking away from this. I'm not going to countersue. Because she could have. She could have countersued. She had grounds to. Cardi B actually had grounds to countersue. She actually had grounds to get money out of that girl. Sure did. Mm-hmm. But she said she wasn't going to. She said she wasn't going to countersue this time. She was going to let this one ride. She wanted to get home to her kids because of this trial that this attorney never should have brought to trial. She missed her kids' last week of summer vacation for school, and she missed their first day of school. So the last week they were out for summer vacation, she was in court. And their first day of school, she was in court that day too. So, that sucks for her. But she made a statement when she was standing up there. She said, she said, I just want everybody that's, to hear this, don't come at me. And I'm paraphrasing. But basically what she said was, don't come at me. Don't come at me because I'm not the one to contact. You come at me with she said, the next person that comes at me with a frivolous lawsuit, I am going to countersue. I ain't going to do this one. Let somebody else do it. You coming for my bag, I'm coming for yours. Okay? So, that was awesome. And she was cute as a button standing out there on those steps. She just really was, and she was like flipping her hair around, and she was like, doing her, and all this. She's so damn cute. It's great that that's a trial. If you are not a law nerd, okay, if you're not a law nerd, but you are looking to kind of learn just some basic knowledge about what goes on in a courtroom, that trial right there is a good one to watch, because you literally are seeing, let's be a bad attorney day. This here, this guy over here is the worst of the worst. I've never seen anybody like this. I haven't. And then you got her attorneys over here that are all calm, cool, collected. very easy to pick up what they're putting down. Um, they're very eloquent with their wording, not confusing. This dude over here, like I said, we were all about to pass out while he was doing closing because I mean, he'd get a piece of his papers and he'd be staring at them like this, and then he'd drop a paper and he'd have to pick it up, and then he was, shuffling papers around, and it was constantly, I mean, let me see. Hold on, let me go notes. Yeah, I mean, what his closing definitely was not, it was not linear at all. It was like everywhere. Her attorneys, nice linear closing. It was awesome. Um, what else? Let's see. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, he had multiple violations of court orders in court, multiple violations. So he's looking up for sanctions. He's looking up for sanctions, and we're gonna cover that. So, like I said, that hearing's at the end of the month. But next week we are going to pull the lawsuit that where he assaulted another attorney in the courtroom. We're pulling that because we want to find more out about this guy because, like I said, there's no way this guy passed bars and there's just no way. And we're gonna pull those papers, the orders for the order to show cause. So to see what all they're gonna try to get him sanctioned for. It's gonna be fun. So we'll do that next week though. But yeah, it was a great trial, and it had everything. Like I said, I mean, if you're trying to learn about what happens, what they say, how it goes down, this is a civil case. This is not a criminal case, so it is a little bit different as well. Maybe maybe you're well versed in criminal cases, but not civil cases. This will be a good one like that too. Um, but yeah, so Cardi won, and she did go good. I was really proud of her though for making that statement out there because she said, I work hard for my money. She said, I don't sleep all day. I get up in the morning and I go to work. I work to take care of my kids and to take care of myself and to take care of those that I take care of, anybody else I take care of. I don't make my money so that people can make up reasons to sue me thinking that I'm going to settle because I'm not settling. Yeah, so it was great. But yeah, so like last night I got in bed and I've been awake for a long time because I got into bed last night and then my boy came in here and he was sick, so he got in bed with me and the dog, and I ended up sleeping on like 6 inches of bed, so I didn't sleep. And I watched law videos all night long. Yeah, which I went down a rabbit hole last night too. That's another case I'm going to talk about, but that's going to have to be later on. Um, but it was a case that I could not believe. I was like, I cannot believe I had not heard any of this stuff because y'all are all going to know who these people are. I can tell you that. But I had no idea that this kind of tea was going on. No idea at all. But I'm pretty sure that there was some stuff going down that, you know, some bad stuff. I really did. I might be wrong. And this lady's 80 years old right now. So if it'll probably never go to trial. I mean, well, she's been in trials for stuff. But anyway, yeah, I'll go over that later. But yeah, I did. I went down a rabbit hole last night because I couldn't sleep because I didn't have any room to sleep. Then I get up this morning and he gets up and goes back to his bedroom, and I got the TV on, and now Europe's gone to hell in a handbasket, and I'm like, wow, okay, like that's bad. um, so, and I watched that for a little while. I should have taken a nap because I knew that we were doing this trial today. I didn't think it would take 9 hours. 9 hours. 9 hours. 9 hours to stream. I didn't think it'd take that long, but it was great. Every damn minute of it was worth it because, like I said, if nothing else, I worked out my brain because we were, like I said, all of us were clocking that dude. Just boom, 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 boom. He was horrible, but that's okay because he's getting in trouble for it. Honestly, he really does not. I mean, and like I said, it's abuse of the system as an attorney. He, like I said, there was another attorney had that case first. And the reason he ended up with it is because I guarantee you that attorney told that girl, you don't have a case, honey. You have no evidence. You have nothing. What you have is a bunch of nothing burger, okay? Literally. Lies and exactly how do you think we're going to get this over? Because you don't have anything. You have nothing. We don't have witnesses, nothing. But he took it anyway. Anyways, the court's time, the people's money, Cardi B's money, just being a bottom feeder. So, anyhow, thank goodness we are all better than he is, though, and that's the dang truth. All right, y'all. I'm fixing to go to bed because I'm so tired. Like, literally, I didn't sleep last night, so I've been up since yesterday morning. I'm fixing to go to bed now. But yeah, all y'all be safe out there. Like, there's just stuff going on. I mean, wherever you are, just have fun, be safe, and always know that you are loved. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.